This woman was lying unconscious at an altitude of 10,000 meters. As the balloon started falling down, she suddenly regained consciousness. She quickly tried to hold the rope of the balloon, but it was too late now. When she opened her eyes, she found that she was hanging at an altitude of 10,000 meters. The temperature outside was about 40 degrees below zero. It was difficult to save life in such cold. She called out to her companions sitting in the basket for help, but there was no response. She swung her legs and tried to pull herself towards the basket several times. Finally, she held the basket tightly. There was no time to rest. She immediately went out of the basket to open the valve so that the balloon could descend, but the valve would not open because of the frozen ice. Now she had only one way out, to climb to the top of the balloon and release the air manually. She slowly started climbing the rope. She didn't know how much time had passed, but she finally reached the top of the balloon. Climbing up was not easy. Even a small mistake could cause her to fall down. She wanted to tie the rope around herself for safety, but it was difficult to hold on. By now, she was very tired. Her eyes were getting heavy, as if she was going to faint again. Then she saw that her companion was still lying unconscious. This encouraged her. She used all her strength, grabbed the nearest rope, and tied it around herself. Finally, she reached the top of the balloon. She tried to open the valve, but it still wouldn't open. Then she pushed the valve open with great difficulty by using her foot. To prevent the valve from closing, she took out a knife, cut the rope, and hooked the valve with her shoe. The balloon began to descend slowly. Meanwhile, her companion began to regain consciousness. But then they noticed that snowflakes were flying in the air. This meant that the balloon was falling faster than the snowflakes. Both of them pulled the ropes to close the valve, but pulling harder caused the valve to open completely, and the speed increased again. They threw out all the stuff from the basket. Still, it wasn't enough. Their heaviest luggage, the basket, was still with them, which needed to survive. They climbed onto the metal hoop and began cutting the ropes one by one. As they got closer to the ground, their speed was still very fast. The woman slowly stood on the metal hoop. She was about to sacrifice herself, but her partner stopped her. Then an idea came to his mind. He told the woman to cut the ropes of the inner hoop one by one. This would expand the outer hoop to form a large parachute. They both cut the ropes quickly. As soon as the last rope was cut, the whole balloon turned into a giant parachute. The fall was now much slower, and both of them breathed a sigh of relief. But the landing spot was not good. The balloon was heading towards a dense forest. Suddenly, the man fell out of the balloon. The woman, who was still tied to the balloon, flew forward and fell to the ground. But in the end, both of them survived.